In this lecture, we shall learn about how to define generic class. In the last video lectures, we have covered about how to define generic method. It is little bit one advanced step of that. So, inside a class method will be there which we can make generic, but as a whole the entire class can be made generic, and obviously if the class is generic, then the inside this method basically which operates on this data, that also sometime needs to be generic or non-generic, whatever it is there. Anyway, so if we can declare a class generic, this means that the part data field of this class can be any type. If it is not generic, then only the data field can be specific type of data, but generic means it will can be any type of data that can be there. Now, in this lecture we will try to cover about the concept of generic class first, then we shall learn about how a generic class can be defined. We shall illustrate the concept and then generic class definition with few examples. The first example is very simple, that how the generic class can be defined, and then a generic class with array of elements. This array of elements can be of any type, and then we will discuss about how a generic class also can be hold true for any type of data other than the primitive data or user defined data. So, that is the topic that we are going to discuss about. Now, let us first have the idea about concept of a generic class. Now, the concept is that if we can define a class, that is a program, and if the class is generic, this means that it can holds any type of data in it. Now, first let us explain this concept with an example. Suppose this is one simple program that we are going to learn about. That's the program is basically initialize an array, then print the elements in the array, and it will do some task so that it will reverse the ordering of the array. So, these are the three tasks that we want to do, and we are interested to write a program. Now, this program we want to make a generic in the sense that the array that we will use, it can store any type. Then the method which will print, it should print any type of arrays elements, and another method reverse which should work if the array store any type of data. It can be integer, it can be float, or it can be string, or it can be any user defined data type. Now, let us see without any generic programming, if we want to do it, then how we can do that. Now, in the first this is the basically structure of the program that you should have in order to deal with, and in this case we are only considering that the elements should be stored in the array as integer. So, we can write a program, the name of the class for example can give at specific array int, then we should have a declaration of array of elements, then constructor to load the array, that means initializing the array, method to print the array, and another method to reverse the array, and finally this program can be run using a driver class, that is main class, where the objects of this type will be declared and used, or the all methods those are there in this class will be accessed. So, this is the case. Now, here is the program for you, very simple, that you can check it in this program. So, this is the class that we are going to define, and this basically integer a, that means it will take only integer elements, and this is the constructor that basically take it. that means we will pass this constructor as an array of elements and it will initialize to this. So, this basically refer to an array index, and then the whatever the array will pass to this, that means to this program, it will initialize to this one. So, this constructor is to be defined here, and then there is another method, the print method is basically print the whole array. So, here basically declaration of an array of elements and initialization, and this is the printing. Then our next task is to reverse the ordering of element. This method is shown here in the slide. Yeah, so this is the method that you can see. The method name is reverse int, and this is the code of the method, a simple logic by which the ordering of the elements can be made in the reverse order, and the elements will be stored in the same array, and this basically gives the method of reversing. So, three methods. One is the method of initializing arrays we have discussed, then printing all the elements in an array will be how it will be, it is discussed, and finally the reversing of the array elements. So, this completes the declaration of a class. In this case, this class will work specific to an integer array, and finally the main method which will look like this. Just here as we see, we declare an array A, then we call these objects A for this print method to print the elements of the array A, and then this is the reversing the elements, and then again after reversing printing the array elements. So, here we just create an object. As we see, the name of the objects that we have created A is basically is an specific array, and then is an integer array basically. Now, this is for integer. If we want to do the same job, but for another type of data, for example, say it is a floating point values, then we can repeat the same program, but for only floating point values. As we see here, the same program structure, declaring an array of float values, initializing the arrays, then method to print the array of elements, and finally reversing, and we can call this method in a main class. The code is very similar to the previous one, and this is the code, and as you see, this code is for declaring the arrays, array of element initialization, print method, and then this is the reversing. The logic is same, program is same, only data type has changed, and we can call this array of floating point values and then run it. This is the program, but for floating point values. Again, if we want to repeat it for the arrays of string, then same, it is the same structure of codes, same reverse method, and then similar kind of what is called the execution of the method using driver class here. Now, so three different executions we have discussed, for which we are to write three programs: specific array int, specific array double, and specific array string. This should be written as string, by mistake it is written as double. So, three methods we have discussed and we call it. Now, we could do the same thing but writing instead of 3 different versions of the program for 3 different types, but using generic class declaration. So, how this can be done? Here is an example that how it can be. If the types are different, but logics are same, then we should not go for writing different programs, rather we can avoid code duplicacies. Now, here is the idea about that how a class, that means a program, can be made generic so that it can take care about any type of data to run. The syntax for these things here is very similar to the concept of defining generic method. So, what we can do is that a class can be declared as generic by specifying a template of it. Now, in order to declare a template, so here the template is basically to be enclosed, as we have done the same thing for method, but in this case after the name of the class, within these angular brackets starting and closing, and whatever the different types that you want to handle in this program, you can mention as a template. That means without mentioning the actual data type, only the template type like T1, T2, T3. If you want to process 3 different types of data in your program, there are 3 different templates T1, T2, T3 like. And then we can pass after the template discussion. For example, these are the list of templates, maybe 1 or any numbers, so template list accordingly. And if you want to pass any arrays of this template type, you can again within this first bracket and within this triangular brackets the name of the array that you can declare is a template array. Now, let us have a quick demonstration of this program to understand how a class can be defined in a generic way. Now, we are going to define or going to illustrate one example how a generic class can be defined with the syntax that we have discussed about. Now, here just closely look at this program. This is the one class we are going to discuss. The name of the class is generic, and within this angular bracket we want to mention that this class is a template, is a generic class, and we mention this genericity with only one template. That means this program will take care one template type of data, generic type of data. Now, so this class has one members. The members is basically type of T. This X can be a single data type or it can be an array name. So, it is basically Tx, that means X is a type of data of type capital T. Then we should declare one constructor. It is very simple. The constructor will basically initialize the field X. So, if we pass any elements of type T, then it will initialize the value of X. So, this is the way that the generic class can be declared and construct it in it can be declared. Now, after these things, any number of methods in it can be declared, either they are of generic type or simple non-generic also. In this case, we just give an example of a simple method to print all the elements which are stored here in X using this method. So, simple X, so print method will print the elements which are stored there in X. So, this is the simple way that a generic class is declared in this example. So, this is the way that a simple generic class that you can declare and now let us see how we can utilize it. And this is the one main method which basically utilize the previous declaration. Now, in this method, as we see, we create an object A. Here we mention the template T as a string. That means this is the generic class that we are going to have is for the type string, and A is the name of the objects of type generic. And when we create this object, we initialize the field x in it, passing a value here as a Java. So, this means a string, and A is basically hold the value Java at the moment. Now, in the next one, in this example, it basically does the same thing, but for numeric values. In the third one, again we repeat it, we again create an object of the generic class, but for floating point values. Now, so what we can see is that we declare one class as a generic, and whenever we create the objects of that class and any operation in it, then can be called for that type of, for example, print data here, this basically print data for integer type, here print data for string, and here print data for double values. So, this way the generic execution can be done depending on the type of values that you want to process. So, this is the way that generic class and its utilization can be done. Now, so this example gives you a simple idea about how a simple generic class can be declared. Now, let us extend this idea little bit in a more deeper sense, in the concept that how we can define a generic class with array, that array can store any data type. In the previous examples, we have discussed about a generic class which contains a data of any type, but it is not array of any type data. Now, in the next example, we are going to repeat the similar procedure, but only for arrays. Now, let us note what is the difference so far array and then only a single elements. Now, this is the structure of the program that we are going to illustrate, so that we can understand how a generic class for array with any type of data can be declared. So, few steps like declaring a generic array, then constructor to load the array, then method to print the array and method to reverse the array, so that any type of elements, integer, double or string or any type can be used, and all these operations can be done. You can recall the class that we have discussed for integer array, string, and these things separately we deal with, but we can do it in a generic way. Now, so here is the code, you should note it. The code is very simple, again similar to the previous, only minor difference. This is same as the previous one. We declare within this syntax that it is a generic class. This is the declaration that we have added, other than the existing, as we know how to declare a class, but only the template within angular brackets, that is all. Now, here only you see, in the previous example we declared simple an array, but here we declare an array as an array of elements. Then this is the constructor, it is same as earlier one, and then this is the one method we just want to have it, so that it can access any elements into this array using this method. So, get data integer I, that means it will return the ith element which is stored there in the array, and then the print data is basically print T B, B if the array reference. then for the entire array starting from 0 to the length of the array, it will print each elements. So, these are very simple method that we have discussed here in this class. One is the name, the value that it can store array, and then finally the print method and how to access each elements into the array. Now, let us see the main class that we can discuss. Okay, so this is another method in the same array to reverse the element. Okay, so this completes the discussion of three methods: reading, initializing an array, printing the array elements and reversing this one. And we can use this method for the three different type of arrays passing into it. So, here first we declare x is an array of integer, and you note down we did not declare it as a int x, rather integer x. That means x is an array of integers of course, but here integers are treated as an object. So, in order to declare that object of integer array, we declare this declaration. So, that is the thing that you should do in case of generic class. You always have to declare an array of objects instead of array of primitive type. And again the next example, as we see, the same class method is basically instantiated for the template. Here is integer, this is the name of the object that we have created, passing x. X is basically is the array of object to it. That means a int is basically is a collection, we can say, which store all the elements which is there in x. Alternatively, this is another syntax also you can do at the same time. Here we can see the integer array has been passed using this concept. Here actually using this array instantiation created by new and this array. So, in this case this is not required. So, if we do not want to have it, rather in the same objects declaration you can do it, or else this one it can be done. Now, so next is basically once this collection a int is a collection of array of type integer is created, we can pass this and then print data method can be called and it basically print all the elements in it. Reverse array, another method, it is basically there, we can pass this collection, that means array of elements, it can reverse the ordering, and finally again if you print the same, it will print the data here in the same order, here in the reverse order. So, this works fine for an integer array. Now, we can repeat the same program, but for other type of array. For example, let us here see how the same program, but it is for string. So, this basically again run the program, but for other collection, other type of array called the string. Here string array is declared here. So, these are the string array, we pass the string array here and then print reverse, and again after reversing printing this one, and you can see the same way we have done. We did not write any separate code for string, same code which works for integer array also now is working for the character array. So, if it works for integer, it will works also for double values, and this is an example where it also same program we can run, but for double arrays of double values. And only thing that you should note is that while we are creating or passing the values into this program, we always create object arrays. Like in the previous last two examples, the object array that we have used integer integer in capital I, integer, here double, similarly string, always it should be. If you declare instead of this one say simple double double, then it will not work you. So, it basically you have to pass an object, because in case of generic class, whatever the template you define, this template holds for only objects, not for any general values. Okay, fine. So, we have learned about how the generic class can be declared. We have also learned about how the generic class with array of any type also can be controlled. Now, next example that we should learn about, whether the same declaration is valid for any other data type other than conventional numbers data type or string data type. For example, say user can define their own data type, say book or a student or person. Now, can we repeat the same thing? That means objects can be created, objects arrays can be passed, they can be printed, and ordering of the objects can be made like this. The answer is of course yes, because of this is the main strength of the generic programming which we can do it. Now, here is an example for you to illustrate the concept. In this example you can see, first we have to declare your own type of data. As we have discussed here, student is a one type of data that we have discussed. It has only name and marks floating point, and this basically is a constructor by which an object of type student can be initialized. So, this is a user defined data type student, and this is basically the similar concept for declaring a class as a generic class. Generic class T is the template, that means it can hold any type, integer, double, string as in earlier case. At the same time we want to show that this also work for this type of data, that means this template T can also replace or holds student also. Now, this is basically a object is declared here, and this is a generic class for a constructor of this generic class, and this is the one method that which basically to get object, means it will get an object from the collection and then return this object and print it. So, this is the idea about this method declaration, generic class declaration for any type, and then we can declare a main method to use this definition, and here is an example. So, this basically is a main class, driver class, main method. Now, here we use this class that we have discussed earlier. It is an for an integer object. Integer value that is passed to this is basically this value. So, this I object is basically a generic objects which basically store the value in this instance integer, and then we just call this as a print method. So, get object is basically return and then it print, it is there. Now, again it also work for the string type of data. This is the initialized value, the float value, and its print. So, here. So, this program works for integer, this for string, this for print, and in place of it, if we declare here for example generic class student, as you see student is a basically type we have discussed already, this is an object of that we created a generic, and then here we initialize passing the two values because it needs string name and then marks as a floating point. So, this is the example which basically explain that it works for integer object, it works for integer object, it works for string object, it for user defined data type and then process it. So, this way generic class in fact works for you for any type of data that you can pass to a program, or your program can be, instead of a special for only a specific type of data, it can be made a general, that is generic, for in order to work for any type of data. So, this is the way the generic class can be defined, and we have learned about how a class can be declared generic and it can be utilized. There are many more things also we have to learn, and for the entire discussion that we have made in this lecture, you can have from the link that we have given, and there are few more topics which are advanced topics. So far generic class handling is concerned, we will discuss in our next video lectures. Thank you.